I believe that we did this, and some attempted it, some did not. But as we said before, the SQ3R reading technique, it stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. And this is one of the useful techniques of note-taking, right? And it has been formulated.
Anyone receiving or receiving
what happens in this
services
technique is that you start with the step one, which is survey, whereby it encourages us to say that before we start on
accredited, they have given special mandate
we should
to provide.
Like this is you're talking about if it's in this case you're talking about you're having maybe a book, then you like to
Many social workers available out
notes,
there,
right?
but these
Then
are special.
you have to go to start survey first, which is more or less like you engage yourself in the process of skimming. We talked about skimming before, and the skimming is whereby we said it's a process whereby you roughly go through the material to have a general idea of the material. And usually when you like to have a general idea, it means you go
People, meaning you, are you there, madam?
of that particular
Yes, accredited.
and you leave others. And these parts usually in this process you're going to look at the title, to look at the abstract. If there's an abstract, look at the headings in the introduction.
For example, here, an example is the University of Lilongwe. This
which we're talking about, like maybe the graphs, the images, the tables. You look at those quickly, and for you to know that, I mean, to be effective in your process, you usually go, maybe if it's a book, chapter by chapter. You start by first chapter, then you go through it. Then you, as you are going through it, you develop some kind of questions in your head, little by little. You have to be having a little bit few questions that are going to lead.
For example, next year you will accredit you
phrase,
to go
right?
outside.
So another thing is because there might be different authors who are different in terms of the way they come up with their, or the way they write their books. Some they will be straight to the point, giving you information. Some they might not tell you the specific information right away, but they might give you clues. They might have some clues that will show you that there is an important point. So you can look at
Meaning
such
that
clues,
this is talking about,
and then
when you are answering questions like this,
you go to the next stage, which is the question. And this one, after is you're going to be now,
because you cannot go to any other university.
you're
For
going to come
example,
up with concrete questions from what you have surveyed, right? You surveyed and you have seen something that they are now giving you some questions in your head, right?
To go
so you
to
might have
a site that is set aside to provide those.
and write such specific questions, right? Maybe the who, the what, the why, right? And anything that you think that might be necessary to that stage. And then after formulating these questions, right, you are going to go to the next
Specific
stage, which is the read stage now.
You might be right.
So read is like,
because I'm speaking
like this style tells us that before you start reading, right, you should first of all go the two stages that we have talked about, whereby you should have an idea, just that you should have a general idea of what you are going to be reading about. Unlike the old process whereby you just get a book and start reading, right? So When you are going to be reading is where now you are going to be answering the questions you formulated.
Provider. Say, okay, if you are the one delivering,
I wanted to find out who did what. So when you are reading, you are going to be ticking to say, okay, this question has been answered. As you go through, this question has been answered. As you go, then the next question has been answered, right? So
do you know the reason why? The reason is simple.
And here say, while holding the questions clear in mind, read the details to answer your questions, right? It's like as if when you are reading, you are looking for answers, right? That's the approach. And in that one, it's more or less like you have you are reading with a purpose, right? The questions are going to make you to be reading with a specific purpose that I'm reading because I'm looking.
But we're not talking about service provider.
That information.
We're talking about
so that's the whole idea of having the questions with in the first place, right? And since you are going to be reading with questions in mind, it's more or less like it's going to be what is called active reading, right? Not just reading as if you are maybe reading a newspaper, right? But you're going to be like participating in the process because you are looking for something, you want to understand something, right? Then, okay. And the idea here, they say, when you reach at this stage, if you have got some questions, don't go to the next phase without achieving your purpose, right? For example, if you want to understand, maybe you have got 5 questions, and then you are finishing the reading, but these questions are not done, or maybe one question is not done. It means you need to go back to find out where the answer to that question will be, right? So it's more or less like trying to guide you to say until you know that the questions I wanted to have the answers, I have all the answers through this stage, right? Then quickly, then the 4th stage is the recite, right? This is now is where you like more or less like you test yourself to see if indeed you have gotten the information you are looking for, right? Taking the questions that were posed, trying to answer them, right? And here, what else? Okay, I think this is more straightforward, whereby you see like a testing stage. No one say recite, as if somebody is asking you if you can recite or you can repeat what you have the information you have obtained from the reading, right? So they say recite because it's whereby you are going to be saying something that has been obtained from the reading without looking to the book. Like the book is going to be aside, then somebody could ask you a question, you could take the question and try to answer them separately to see if you can be able to answer them without referencing the book, right? So in here, and the review is now the 5th stage. As we are trying to answer the questions on the other stage, here is more or less like now it's a review of the whole process, right? You check your memory now. If you say you check your memory by reciting and the main points and the sub points, now it's like you are at this stage to check if you have get the whole concept of the whole, if it's a book of the whole book from the beginning inside to the end. If somebody could ask you, can you tell me maybe what the book is about, right? So you should be able to talk about it maybe from the beginning. If it's a chapter, the main points of the chapter, because when you're at this stage, it's like when you have the methods we talked about of note taking and others. You don't talk about each and every detail, right? You should be able to know which are the important details that you need to keep, which are not necessary, So for you, it's a matter of having the main details, like the main points, the sub points, right? And as we talked about before, we said most of the times the supporting point and the main points, if they are not indicated, they can tell you, they can be clues in the text that can indicate that this is the main point, or maybe it's a supporting point, right? So you should be able to notice such cues. And here, but on the review, it's more or less like it's also like solidifying the whole process of reading, to say it's not a one day or one off thing. It's something that if you want to be studying, if you are studying, it should be a regular process, right? To say, okay, I do study maybe this course, maybe Monday and Tuesday. You should create a specific day to say, I'll be like reviewing what I've been studying, maybe this period, right? To check if indeed you are in tune with what you have been studying. Okay, just put it in this, right? So that was that first question. So it's just a matter of talking about anything surrounding that area, as long as you know what happens in a particular stage, and the ideas that this whole technique was just to help somebody to get the most of the process of studying, right? So it's the whole idea. So that's what was needed in this question. Then we had this question number 2, which talked about skimming and scanning are the two common techniques used by a reader to go through a text quickly. So the first one, differentiate the terms skimming and scanning. The other one is, to an intensive reader, scanning and skimming have some advantages discussed. So the first one, okay. Here are just few quick points. I believe that we've already done this a number of times. Anything that it maybe cannot be one of the points, but as long as you know what skimming and the scanning is. So these are the advantages. Let me see, the other one was differentiate. Okay. I think maybe this slide. Okay. All right. Before even I go to that one, but I believe that we know what skimming is and we know what scanning is. Right? I discovered that some of them don't. Okay.
We are talking about cyber crime.
Both cyber crime. Both of them, the techniques of speed reading, right? All of them. The idea is like you want to be reading very quickly, right? So the process is more or less like the same. The difference is the purposes, right? To say this skimming has got a different purpose than scanning, right? And here, and you can hear skimming and scanning are two speed reading techniques which enable you to cover a vast amount of materials very rapidly, right? And these techniques are similar in process but different in the purpose. In terms of the similarities, they both save time, right? If you are trying to maximize your time to go through a certain written material very quickly, both of them can assist you in that one. They both encourage reading, right? Because for you to be able to go through these
with their examples,
right? They both facilitate. Okay, this is speed reading again. Okay, that's what there's a problem. I mean, there's a mistake there. But they both facilitate speed reading. Scanning alone is efficient in gathering a specific information, as what we said, that if you are looking for a specific, you're looking for specific information, then you are going to use scanning, right? Meaning scanning is that process of speedy reading whereby you are looking for specific information. It could be maybe you're looking for anything that is going to talk about Mr. Banda, right? Or anything that is going to talk about Malawi. So what you're going to be doing is, if anything that is not talking about the information you are looking for, you are not going to be paying attention to it, right? And skimming is good when you have a long pile of materials to read, right? Meaning you have got a long pile of materials to read. Maybe you just want to have the whole idea, the overall idea. Yes. Okay, yeah. Okay. You have taken half of my class. Okay. So saying that when it comes to scanning now, to skimming, we say, I mean, it's going to be, I mean, the advantage is it's going to facilitate, to help you more when you have got a large pile of materials to go through, because you are going to be able to at least have ideas of the overall ideas of a particular book or materials very quickly, right? It means you might make a decision to say, okay, maybe I should start reading these two maybe books first, and then this one I'm going to read them later. But what you do in a skimming is whereby we already talked about that you go through the whole material, the whole material, and you're going to be you focus usually on the many points and the supporting points. Normally it should be the main points, because the supporting points are also you are reading, right? So anything that can be talked about along those lines, to say that these are I mean they are advantages, would be correct. In terms of the differentiating, it's just a matter of, as I say, comparing the two to say this one is for looking for specific information, the other one is to have the general idea, right? So it could have different advantages and disadvantages. I mean, let me say advantages on that. It's for sure disadvantages in the sense that in terms of speed, if you think about skimming and scanning, skimming could be a little bit slower. Scanning could be quicker. Let me just say, because you're looking, you don't check almost everything. While in skimming, more or less like you want to make sure that you have seen all the points, the main points, right? So quickly, see, okay. All right. So here we had a problem. The thing is, the paper that you wrote was I mean they're the same questions, but there was another revised paper in some areas, and now the revision was not made, especially on this question, right? The question, in your exams, it showed that explain any 5 Qs on, there was no what. I don't know if you can remember. There was no what in your paper. There was just on to be taken down. So I felt like, I think it was not that clear, right? Because the idea was on what to be taken down, right? If there is maybe a lecturer delivering a lecture, so what pointers could you notice, to say that this point that he's saying, could be an important point? I think we talked about it that time. So the question, the way it was framed, I felt like because there was no what, it was not doing justice to you. But still, I was just appreciating anyone who was answering towards that. If someone was going away, I was saying, okay, because it's of the question. So there is not going to be any penalization on this question. What I did is going to be like, for your attempt, the question part A is going to be more or less like a bonus something. I'm not going. I didn't going to. I'm not going to penalize anybody who is going. It was a problem of, I think, a semantic problem. Yeah, but still, what according to the normal question, the way it was supposed to be asked was to do with the if there is somebody maybe making a speech, if there's a lecturer delivering a lecture, what signs do you see to know that, okay, because as you know that the note taking, you don't take everything, you don't copy everything, you have to select the points. So how do you know that, okay, this is what I have to take down? So we talked about that time, if you remember. These were the points that we talked about. We say, if the speaker is writing something on the board, right? If the material is written on the board, that could be a sign. Meaning, if it is on the project like this, that could be a sign that point is important, right? Or if the speaker is repeating a specific point, if there is a repetition of a point, that also could be a clue to say this could be something that I need to take down because it's important. Is repeating for a purpose. If there is emphasis, right? If somebody is speaking and the person who is speaking is emphasizing on a certain point. So when you say emphasis, either he's maybe raising the voice, or maybe he has put that particular point in capital letters, that's emphasis. Or maybe it's in italics, or maybe there's an underline. Whatever way, underlining, italics, bold, those are elements of emphasis, right? So you know this if we have got all these texts, like in case of what I'm showing you here, you see some other texts are in bold, right? Those could be an emphasis, emphasized areas. So if there's emphasis, as you can see here, maybe it could be by the tone of the speaker, that he was speaking slow and eventually he started raising the voice. You say, okay, maybe that's something else. Or maybe he's using the gesture, hand gesture, to show something. And here can also say emphasis can
I will
be
ask
judged
one by one.
The structure spans on a point. There is a point, the instructor took longer time to explain something. So that could be also a sign to that's an important point. Where the signals, right? When the signals are straightforward, right? They will tell you straightforward, these are the main points, or two of the main points, or maybe the first thing, you know, that's the important point. The second thing, the fourth thing. So you observe with the signals, right? You observe with the signals to know the emphasis, right? Also, we talked about the summarizes, right? When there is a speaker, after speaking, the person is summarizing. You know, a summary is like the main. The person takes the main points. It talks about only the main points. So that those are points that you could take down, because as long as it's a summary, it's like it's a condensed form of the whole package, right? So, and also we said that if there's a speaker, maybe there's a lecturer who like to lecture on something. Before the lecture, a person, I mean, that is the lecturer starts with the review to tell you that today we are going to talk about, that's a review. So you know that as long as the person is giving you the review, anything is he or she is going to talk about in the review, those are the important points that you can take for you to say, okay, we're going to talk about this. So the reviews, if given at the beginning of the class, the summary that is given at the end, when signals that will signify to say this is an important point, like the first thing, the second thing, all those signals. Emphasis, whether by voice, the tone of the voice, whether by the amount of time taken on a certain point, also repetition of a certain point, and the material written on the board. So those are some of the, I mean, cues or signals that can tell you that I'm taking notes.
An agency providing services. Another social organization.
Do you have an example of that? Examples, madam. Here is what you can do. Maybe we should try it here. Yes.
Person is getting the service from a guidance and counseling center or a hospital. So that person is accredited to provide therapy to the people in the community, or maybe to certified nurse or a certified person who knows much about contraceptive methods.
To remember them, even before you have studied the material formally, right? So when you are writing down the important points, is because you are already selecting the important points. Before even you start studying, most of the points are going to be in your head already, right? That you know, oh, there's this point, is that point, because you are writing. It's more or less like when you are writing the notes, you are also like studying, maybe indirect. So that would be an advantage to you. Because imagine if somebody is speaking, you didn't even write anything. When you take the book, it's like you are studying for the first time. So you have to repeat once, twice, but this one is going to be like you are revised. Taking down notes will also increase your level of interaction, like with the lecturer, by asking relevant questions. Like, since you are taking down notes, if somewhere else something is not okay, you are able to point out that I think here you said this, or maybe the spelling is not okay here, or something like that. So there's going to be that interaction, which is good. Because sometimes they say, people like lecturers, the way I come here, I will bring a material, maybe there will be an error, I will not notice it. So if you are just sitting, you're just listening, you might not notice it. But if you are writing, you might see something like, oh, here, maybe this is spelling, maybe the spelling, maybe this one. So that can help you in the long run. So there are more points that will be placed here. Just think about other points. What that will get. But these are some of the points. Okay. So this is another. So quickly, let's go quickly here. To actively engage with the information being presented, I think similar to what I've said already, whereby there is not going to be interaction. You're going to be an active listener, right? Also, to help you concentrate and to focus your thinking, right? Instead of you thinking randomly, since you're writing, I mean, let me say, I don't know that it can happen that you are listening to something, then you are writing, then you have while your thoughts are somewhere else. Can that happen? It's almost impossible. But it's easier for you to be listening or pretending to listen while your thoughts are somewhere. But if you are writing, because you are writing, it's like you are engaging yourself, you are engaging your brain. The brain will not go to be wandering elsewhere. It will be where you are writing. So that can be also something that can help you. Also to increase your understanding of the topic. Okay, so that's similar to one of the other things we have talked about, whereby you are going to be following what is being said because you are copying it down. Okay, so another point again here saying the lecture might include useful information and interesting information that is not in the handout. Maybe the lecture gave out the handout. There could be some extra information that in the handout they are not available, right? So when you are taking down notes, people will say, "I think I will get. I can't go in the handout. We give you that information, right?" They say something completely. But if you took down notes, you have that information. No, you talked about this, but in the handout is not there. So the other at the end there, okay. There is also it decreases your chances of missing important information. Right? Instead of you missing important information, you are going to not miss it out. at the end, it helps you do well for exams. That's just a obvious one. There was this one, the outline method and the corner method. I know this one has been talked about here and there for a while, and compare and contrast. I think here it's talking some just an additional information. Yes, we remember we talked about the Cornell method as a system, and as a systematic and simple method of note taking that breaks the note page into 3 sections, right? To allow for organized recording and review, right? So I do believe everyone knows that in this system of the corner whereby you break down that page into 3 sections. One section is going to be where you're going to be writing your main notes. The down section is going to be where you're going to put it to summarize. On the left is going to be where you're going to be indicating some questions, right? Few questions to say, okay, this is the question. So the few questions are going to be linking with the main notes. To say there's this question, then you're going to be answering them when you're copying. No, I've been taking down the notes. While the outline method is a different way whereby you don't use this particular method. In the outline, you more or less, as the name suggested, you write an outline of the information whereby you use the same page, maybe one page, but you take down the main points and supporting points in a manner whereby you to your left, the light margins are going to be the main points. All the texts that are going to be hitting the left margin are going to be the main points. The ones that are going to be going inside, like you are going to be using what is called indents. Indents is like whereby the main point is going to be at the left. The supporting point of that one is going to be a little bit inside. The supporting point of the next one is also going to be a little bit inside. So that's the indents. So that's on that. So here you talk about the outline method. Method of taking notes, which the information is a highly structured because it's more of a structured in a logical manner, forming a skeleton of if it's a textbook chapter, it's going to be just like a skeleton, right? Whereby when you say skeleton, it will only just have main points, subordinate points, not the smallest details, right? And that's what you're going to usually include in this technique. And as I said already, the information is organized with the main headings to the left, to the far left, and the related subheadings indented below that. So I think we saw what we were talking about in this one. And this is the other part that I think when we were going through this topic, I didn't talk about this part whereby it's more or less like new information. On the outline, there are like 2 kinds of outlines, right? The topic outline and the sentence outline, right? So sometimes you have seen outline whereby they are like just like heading, like a topic, not a sentence. So in the topic, the outline, you just have not a sentence. You have short phrases, eh? Like main topic is going to be just a short phrase, and in this one, it's useful when you are dealing with the issues that will be arranged in a variety of way on paper, and then you have the sentence outline whereby you have, instead of having phrases, you're going to be having the same system of how the layout or structure, but you're going to be writing like sentences, right? But the issue is the difference would be if you are going to write into a sentence, it means you want to help yourself to understand the material. Material that you can use this sentence the outline would be maybe very complex material, right? To the extent that if you put to write a phrase, you might not remember what he was talking about, right? But there are some other topics where if you write a phrase like to say maybe tap elements, you remember that, oh, I was talking about this. But some points, if you just write a phrase, you will say, oh, what was I saying? So you need to write the whole sentence. So it will depend on the topic you are covering. You ask yourself, is it a very simple, at this light topic? If it's a complicated topic, you take this outline, sentence outline. But this is just an additional information. I didn't expect you to, because I didn't emphasize on this. But you just have to know that the same outline you see them sometimes outlines whereby they have sentences, and they will have the same structure whereby the first the differences are said this you find outlines with the using bullets, whereby they will not put like numbers or letters, but you see the intention that there is one sentence that is being hidden here. There's another. Some they will use letters like Roman numerals, as we talked, we saw examples whereby they will say, okay, all the headlines, the main topics are going to be capital letters. Maybe the supporting are going to be this. So that's an additional information of that. And in here, I think this is something that we just add up. In terms of the similarities, they are both effective methods of note taking. Okay, so just a quick similarity, some we just add of them, a very obvious one. They are both effective methods of note taking, and they are all both also popular methods. Note taking, they are also both easier to use. Some maybe we just try to add up, but since they're one of the popular ones, they have it. I think he talk about here, just a quick contrast. In terms of, I think you already know, I mean, the way the portfolio look, the structure, and the way the output look. So in terms of organization of ideas, outline format is easier for you to know how the ideas have been organized, because you already know that this one is a midpoint, this is somebody good, but just looking at it, right? While when you look at the model, it's a little bit difficult because everything is in one place, so you have to read to understand which are the main ideas, which are the supporting ideas. So in terms of comparison of the one that is a little bit easier to go through for somebody who is a neutral, an outline would be much more easier than the model. And the model method also needs more time. I think it's some people they even talk about it. They need more time for you to follow, because you need to have that demarcation. To say, okay, maybe there's a paper, I have to take a ruler, or maybe I draw a line to demarcate. So it's a little bit the process. While when it comes to outline, just start on it right away, be writing something, right? So that will be also the difference. And the outline method, start writing main points on the far left. This is the point what we're talking about. And the related subtopics, and using when you have to do the corner method, points are in a specific section where I just combine. So you have the same idea we are talking about, that in outline you will easily see where the many points and subordinate points are by just having a glance at the notes. While in the audio, you need to go through, read, and try to see where the points are. The other obviously different would be the summary, right? Because if you see on the audio, there is a section where you have to write the summary, right? So it means for outline, for you to know the summary, you have to just look at the whole context, the text, to try to figure out, okay, it's talking about this. While the cornea will be an advantage because if you want to just have the whole idea, just go on the summary and see, oh, it's talking about this, it's covering this, right? So that will be an advantage to that end. And also, what else? The outline method lets you organize your notes in a structured form, helping you to save a lot of time for further reviewing and editing, unlike the corner, which is the obvious one. That since it is in a outline is structured. When we say structured, it is not random. If you have seen how outlines are done there, it's like in the table of contents of the book, where there is the page one, for example, this chapter 1. On the chapter 2, it will go on the same line, right? It will use the same font, so you can see clearly structure that, oh, these are the main points, these are. While in the corner, you might change, because you're just writing inside. Somehow you write it, main points differently. So it can be a little bit challenging for this end to make a difference, to differentiate, right? So that would be also a contrast. In the outline method, many topics are written. Okay, I think this is what I talked about. Let's see other one. The outline method organizes information with the headings and subheadings, while the Cornell method organizes information using sections. Okay. The cues, the questions, section. Okay, these are the sections we will talk about. But so these are the main, some of the main points. Quickly, let's see on this one. It's like a definition. The question will be 5 on about writing those on these. And these, some of them we have already talked about. Scanning. And the summary was very interesting. Like I think, because this scanning term is new, it's not new. Like I don't remember, what I don't get scanned. So the summary was talking about along that line, along going scanning paper, so you know, I know, but it can show that the person is not in class. Because if you're talking, I didn't talk about it. If you're talking about going to photocopy, you're like scanning. Did I talk about that? Simon talked about that. I was even surprised. Okay, but it can just show that even tell that this person they would be Simon in class because we take it simple to say, okay, attending class. No. No matter people, but it helps because you can get a book. But if you are not there, even if you talk about Sunnah, as long as you know that account, it's easier for you to read. But you didn't know that account. So you talk about something. Simon talked about, I don't know who, but it was interesting. Okay, scanning is a rapid, I think that's, we talked about it already, rapid but focused reading. And these are the terms that we need to keep in mind. When you say rapid, somebody can take a newspaper, when it fast, that's not scanning. That's why people say, no, I think when it's fast, then it's scanning. No. Going through material, written material alone is not scanning. But going through written material like that, with the aim to have the general idea of the text, they will even see not general idea, sorry, it's scanning. That whereby you are looking for specific information. Here, we talk about scanning is a rapid but focused reading of text in order to get specific information rather than to absorb all the information, right? So scanning helps one in quickly identifying the information one wants, right? So that's the thing, but not what someone said. So skimming, you already talked about already, is reading selectively to get the general idea of what the article is about. So this is for the general idea. You just want to know, I know what that this skimming is at the beginning of the SQL. Because if you read without knowing who's going to somehow you can struggle. While when you read before, you go back a skim, you know at least an idea, you have an idea. So this is done by reading some parts, such as titles, subtitles, first sentences of each paragraph, summary, title of graphics, and then you skip other parts, right? The main objective, I've already said, of skimming is to understand the main points and the central idea of the text. Okay, then this text summarizes it. This one is which very surprising. I didn't even emphasize this, but see, because everyone was talking about the correct thing. Text summarizing refers to, if you remember, we talked about text condensing the text. I think we saw text condensation. There was a topic. Topic many things that have been I didn't talk much about it, but text summarizing is part of that. You are condensing the body of text, right? So text summarizing refers to the technique or a process of condensing and rewriting a large chunk of text to create a small crispy summary. It's like you are coming up with summary, right? But the summary, no one is text summarizing, right? Which is, when we say you are writing the summary, it means if someone can read the summary, should you be able to know the main ideas, the main points of the whole text. That's what the summary is, right? Because if you have seen this the same day when you are writing your essays, that normally the style is the same. If it's an essay, you should have 3 parts, many parts. Any essay, doesn't matter which course, doesn't matter where it's coming. Introduction, main body, and then conclusion. Now, I said that most of the times when people say, okay, this is an introduction, people they don't introduce. Introduction is introducing, but introduction, most of the people they just start by a sentence, a random sentence. Then they say this is an introduction. Conclusion again, you be a random sentence again, whereby maybe they talk about one point, but in the conclusion, what it is like is text summarize. Think about, okay, what are points that how can I talk about my points maybe in a sentence or in maybe one paragraph? Right? That's what it is all about. It's all about. You should know where what you need, what you don't need. So this is the process of doing it. And as here is the shortest definition, say it is a technique of shortening long pieces of text. It's an obvious definition there that someone should give. And it is aimed at producing coherence and fluent summary, having only the main points outlined in the document. So, document would have outlined, because sometimes when you say, what are the main points of this book? I know we have written as whereby we don't usually read in table of contents. We don't read it up in the table where it's main point of text. For this table of contents, this some other side bars. They can tell us in a chapter, my main points is down. Without you reading it, because you don't take time to read it aside bars, it can be a problem. Then there was listening. So this is a simple thing, it sounds to be a simple thing, but there is a trick. I even talked about this already. Would you know, a trick of trying to define something for you to not trap yourself, because you can trap yourself in a simple definition. Just straightforward. How do you trap yourself? Avoid defining something using the same term. You're talking about listening. You can't say it is the process of listening to. Listening is the one that you want to define. So you can't use the same listen, right? Or what is hearing? Hearing is a process whereby you hear something So you feel like you have said, I mean, you say it poorly. So the easiest way is like, when you are defining something, just avoid to use the same word in your definition, right? Use any other word that you can use, because you are defining it that way, right? So listening, I believe that we talked about it a number of times, we said, I think we started at the beginning of this course to differentiate hearing and listening, right? Whereby we say hearing is just that process whereby any sound that is produced will enter your ears, right? And you are able to get that sound that has been produced elsewhere, right? So that's here you have heard some. Well, listening, as you can hear here, there's now the process of, I mean, that element you're paying attention, right? You are here, you have heard the sound, so you are now making a decision to pay attention to that sound, to understand what that sound is talking about. That's part of it. And listening, which is complete, to make it complete, it's not only paying attention to sound economy, as you can see the definition here. It's even to the verbal messages. So it's like you are paying attention to the verbal and the verbal. Like if I'm speaking, you are looking at the person. You should be able to see what the personal verbal communication is saying. And also you are able to hear what the person is talking about. So listening means paying attention not only to the story, but to what is told, the use of the language and the voice, and how other person uses his or her body, right? So in other ways, it means being aware of both verbal and non-verbal messages, right? So that can be a complete definition. And your ability usually to effectively listen. There is what is called effective listening. Right? It will depend on the level or the degree to which you perceive and understand the message, right? Because if you don't understand what the message is, or the message is communicating, somehow you are going not to pay much attention, right? But if you understand, you are getting the information, or you are paying more attention to get the information, that is going to be easier to understood. So that's why they say in terms of listening, it's not a passive process. Meaning, it's not something that it will happen automatically. That's now how you can differentiate listening and hearing. Right? Hearing will happen automatically. You can just simply, you can even be sleeping, you will hear something, right? While listening, you have to, it happens intentionally. You have to decide to say, you make that decision there. So that's how now you come to what is called the active listening. Right. So we talked about that. There was this note taking, whereby you talk about the process of writing or typing notes. And I think here there was just this element because you say sometimes when you think about note taking, we're trying at the beginning to make a decision between note taking, not taking. There's mostly a very thin line. But if we say if you go some other book, they will not make much distinction between not taking and not taking. But the issue that can make you to know which is which is this table that I put in board in a real time, right? If it's in real time, that's what we're talking about. It's this process of not taking what we're talking about, whereby you are getting the information right away when something is being done. For example, if you're reading and you're getting the information right away, it's not like you're going to replace the material, but you're just getting the information. Someone is speaking, getting the information. That's what we are talking about in note taking, right? Because if you go to the other side, you have that now process whereby you say you will have to make your own notes. I know that there's going to be that distinction. We're going to be able to explain it in your own way. That's why I